Hello, ResTech, and welcome back to another episode of ResTech Well-A-Vision. Today, coming at you with another one of our micro topics. So something, just a little bit of information for you guys to think about, to apply if need be, and all that. So today, what I'm going to talk about is training for a marathon. Now, I know all of those of you out there who know me fairly well are probably literally laughing out loud right now. For those of you that don't know me, I am totally cardiovascular exercise averse. I am definitely not a runner, but I want you to hear me out today. So today we're going to talk about training for a marathon. I got this thought from, I was listening to a podcast and they were talking about setting goals, and the idea was that you're viewing your goals and aspirations for the year or however long as a marathon and not a sprint. Okay, so think about that. When we have all of our aspirations or our goals for the year, our goals for life, or something like that, if we have specific goals, then it's valuable to think about it as a marathon and not a sprint. So what does that mean? If you set a goal for yourself, and let's be honest, if you're going to set a meaningful goal, it shouldn't be something that you can achieve overnight. It's going to take some work. It's going to take some attention. So understanding that you're not going to get there overnight, that it's going to take some steps, it's going to take some training to be able to run that marathon is very important. So it is a gradual training process. If you're going to run a marathon, obviously you need to train. You need to come up with a schedule. You need to determine how many miles you're going to run, and you need to build up upon those miles, and you need to go step by step until race day. Okay, so obviously it takes commitment to the process. For all of you runners out there who have trained for a marathon or half marathon or some big race, you know it takes commitment to the process. A marathon is not something you can just jump off the couch and say, hey, I'm going to go run a marathon. If you are one of those people, God love you, but most of us can't do that. So training for a marathon does take some preparation, it takes some planning, it takes commitment to the process. So if you're going to run this marathon, you need to have a training plan, you need to be able to determine how many miles you're going to run, and guess what, guys? The most important part, you have to do it. So training is essential to be able to run this marathon, okay? I'll give you an example. So aside from the obvious running a marathon. So if you wanted to lose weight, obviously you're not gonna, wake up the next day and you wanted to lose 10 pounds and then all of a sudden, you do something the next day and poof, the 10 pounds are gone. No, it's gonna take a little bit of a life adjustment. You're gonna have to possibly alter the way you're eating. You're gonna have to alter the way or begin exercising. You're gonna have to make sure you're getting enough sleep. You're gonna have to make sure you're doing a lot of different things. And when you first start, especially if you're a beginner, you're not going to just jump on a treadmill and go for a run or lift a bunch of weight or anything like that. Sometimes it takes a very simple step. You just go out and maybe go for a walk, or maybe you substitute a beer with a bottle of water or something like that. So it takes some training, it takes some planning, and obviously it takes some commitment to the process, and it is a process. So training up, building up to reach that goal, or to be able to run that marathon, or to be able to lose that weight, okay? And lastly, the last point I want to make, I know this was quick, but just trying to share my thoughts on this, is it doesn't stop after the race. So I really want you to think about that. So if you were going to train for a marathon and then eventually run the marathon, now, first of all, most of us who would actually run a marathon are probably runners who enjoy running. And after the race, you're probably still going to run. If you're trying to lose that weight, once you reach your goal weight, you still need to maintain that weight. So once you actually, figuratively or specifically run that race, you still need to take the steps to make sure that you maintain that level where you're at. So if you've reached that goal, if you've reached your aspiration, a couple things could happen. You could either determine how to improve upon the habits or improve upon, your running to become more efficient. Perhaps you could come up with another goal based off of that and keep moving forward and then start training for that goal. So it doesn't stop after the race. If we had a goal weight of losing 50 pounds and then we lost that 50 pounds and say, all right, excellent, and then you completely abandon everything that you did, you're going to gain those 50 pounds right back. So it doesn't end after the race. Once you've run that marathon, you still need to maintain and work on efficiency. Try to improve your mileage times. Just keep that steady habit of training. Okay, so remember that, guys, because that's something that's often overlooked when you are on the path to a big aspiration, or you're training for that marathon and then you run the marathon and it seems like everything's it's great, I did it, hooray for me. But really start thinking about that in terms of overall health and wellness specifically, is why I'm trying to communicate this, is really start thinking about what happens after that. After you've run the race, you need to maintain those habits. You need to keep training. You need to keep your body working the way it needs to be. Okay, so a couple key takeaways. Again, as I said, a lot of your goals and aspirations need to be viewed as a marathon and not a sprint. A lot of meaningful outcomes are not going to happen overnight. It's going to take a process. It's going to take commitment to the process, and it's going to take a little bit of work, planning, training, and all that. Okay. Next, you need to commit. Like I just said, you need to be able to commit to that process. If you are going to train for a marathon, you need to commit to training for that marathon, because you're not just going to step out there in the race and be able to run a marathon. It's just not going to happen. The same thing with everything else. If you want to lose a bunch of weight, you're not going to just kind of do things here and there and be able to see that weight come off. It's not going to happen. You have to be committed to the process. You have to be able to instill some good habits in your life. You have to train, so to speak. And lastly, that idea of it's not over after the race. You need to maintain. You need to look at ways to possibly improve your efficiency, possibly think of another goal or another marathon to train for, so to speak. So it doesn't end after the race. All right. So guys, that's my take on this topic. I'd love to hear from you guys, what you think about this. Obviously, those who have actually trained for a marathon, and I know there's probably a number of you out there, share your thoughts on this and how it might relate to wellness or something else that you've experienced in your life. So with that, I'll wrap up, and as always, I'll ask you guys to share your feedback. If you like this episode, let us know. If you didn't like this episode, let us know that too. If you have any suggestions, requests for content that you want to see on these, please don't keep that stuff a secret. We obviously want to keep this information coming at you guys, keep you guys informed, entertained, enlightened, and ultimately keep you guys well. So thanks for tuning in. I hope this was valuable to you. Hopefully it made you think, and hopefully encourages you to take these steps and begin training for your marathon. So we will see you next time with another episode of ResTech Well-A-Vision. Stay well, guys.